Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. For today's yoga class, we are going to be focusing on that soft little band of blubber that seems to start collecting around the belly area. As the weather starts cooling down, we stop moving around so much during the day and we nibble perhaps just a little bit too much. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and take a time out in child pose at any time during the class should you need it. You ready to play? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing in the middle of the mat, and I'd like you to heel toe your feet in, connecting your big toes and your ankles, standing up nice and tall, and then float your hands into Jupiter Mudra by interlacing the fingers, bringing your index fingers together and crossing the thumbs. Point the little steeple of your index fingers up towards the ceiling and find your narrow mountain Tadasana. Feeling that beautiful root through your feet. Start drawing up along the inner thighs and start to lengthen from your pelvis towards your neckline. Float your Jupiter hands overhead, thinking of piercing the sky with that little steeple. And as you reach for the sky, soften your shoulders away from your collarbones, but keep lengthening and almost wriggling out through your hips as if you were trying to grow your trunk towards the sky. Keep your tailbone softly tucked under, inner thighs softly engaged, and pull up from your pubic bone towards your belly button line. Take a big breath in for, let's say, 10 counts if you can. On a big exhale for 10, you're going to drop your steeple just off center to the left, bumping the weight into your right hip, and you're going to hold that stretch, trying to open up the rib cage on the right side of the body from the hip bone all the way up to your breast line. Inhale and come back towards the center line, let's say for a count of 10. And then for an exhale of 10, drop off center to the right, bumping your weight into the left hip bone and trying to expand the ribs on the left side of the body. Let's do that one more time to each side. Big breath in as you come back to the center. Exhale as you take it over to the left. Try to open up those little spaces between the ribs. Inhale to come back towards the center line. And then when you're ready, take a big exhale and bump it off center to the right. Come back towards the center line, peeling your Jupiter Mudra down the same way that you went up. Then extend the arms out in front of you as if you wanted to pierce the wall. If holding this mudra becomes too much while we play with the legs, you can open up the arms into parallel, or you can just drop the arms long and lengthened at your side, or maybe brace on the hips if you prefer. Find a focal point on the wall in front of you and think of piercing that wall with your index fingers. Then float the right leg up as high as you can and hold it in position, almost as if you were using the sole of your foot to kick the wall away. Use your inner thighs, use your core to hold that line. Then tap the heels softly to the floor and float back up. You're going to do that 5 times. Tapping down and thinking of drawing up along your lower belly to make that leg come up, almost as if you were pulling on a little piece of string through your belly button. Float down. Bring the hands back in front of your heart and shake the legs up. We're going to rinse and repeat on the other side. Extend your arms. Brace into the left foot. Float it up as high as you can. Inner thighs working hard, top of your thighs working hard, and you've pulled up a zip from your pubic bone all the way to your belly button line. Then tap the heel softly down to the floor and raise the leg back up. Exhaling as you bring the leg up, inhaling as you drop down. Maybe a little shooting breath through the mouth if you like. As you complete the last one, you're going to drop the arms long and lengthened at your side. Just shake the legs out. We're going to come into a dynamic warrior 3, and then you'll hold the line. Stand up nice and tall with the arms long and lengthened at your side. You're going to float the right leg behind you, tapping the right fingertips to the mat. Left arm is just relaxed at your side, and then you're going to come back to your start position. You're going to do that 5 times. Finding a focal point on the wall in front of you, running your eye down that point as you tap to the mat. Leg is at about a tabletop line. And as you're playing with the warm-up for your Warrior 3, I want you to keep your shoulders and your hips stable on both sides. So try not to pop and rotate through the shoulders or the hips. Try to keep them even on both sides. On your last one, you're going to hold that Warrior 3 line. Arms are long and lengthened at your side, thinking of bracing into the back foot and tapping the back wall with your fingertips. Hold the line if your balance feels good. Float the hands softly overhead as you soften the back foot, almost framing the head on both sides and tapping the wall in front of you and the wall behind you, trying to grow from your hip bones towards your neck. Then float up along the center line. Come back to your narrow stance and just release the legs. Let's rinse and repeat on the other side. Coming down into your little Warrior 3 prep on the left. Float the left leg up and tap the left fingertips to the mat. Right arm is just soft and relaxed at your side. You're going to do that dynamically 5 times, finding a rhythm of your own. I'm setting a moderate pace. You can work at a slower or a faster pace if you prefer. The next time you come into your Warrior 3 line, you're going to keep both arms long and lengthened at your side. Find your tabletop line, nice and stable through the shoulders and the hips. Bracing into your back foot. And then begin softening through the back foot as you float the hands overhead. Move slowly with purpose, almost framing the head and tapping the wall in front of you and the wall behind you, trying to grow from the hip bones towards your neckline. Peel back up along the center line, arms long and lengthened at your side, dropping the shoulders down and trying to grow from your hip bones towards the sky. Open up your feet so that they're about hip-width distance apart and hinge forward, coming into a straight tabletop line, almost as if you were trying to balance a teacup and a saucer on your back. Float the arms out in front, and as you do so, bring the weight bearing onto the ball of your foot. Don't lift the heels off the mat. The whole foot is still connected to the mat, but there's almost no weight on your heels. It's all on the toes and the ball of the foot. Then fold forward, rocking the weight softly back into your heels, but not allowing the toes to come up off the floor. Come back into your tabletop line, bringing all the weight onto the toes, almost thinking of growing out from the hips towards your neckline. So lengthen through the trunk, almost as if somebody was pulling the head away from your hips. Then softly fold forward again. Bring all the weight into the heel of your foot, but don't lift the toes off the mat. A little bit of a balancing challenge. Use those inner thighs, use your core. Let's do one more. Bring all the weight onto your toes, frame your ears, look down. Try to give me a nice tabletop line. Pretend that you've got a teacup in its saucer balancing on your back and you don't want to spill any of the tea into the saucer. Fold softly forward into Uttanasana. Rock the weight gently back into your heels, but keep the toes connected to the mat. Draw up along the inner thighs and pull that belly button in towards your spine. From here, you're going to step back into a down dog frame. So if you need to, step the hands slightly forward, step back, hold your down dog frame. And as you come to the down dog frame today, I want you to try to grow from your hip bones down towards your heels, as if somebody was pulling the heels down. And at the same time, try to stretch from your hip bones towards the hands so that you're feeling that stretch along the front and the back chain of the body, lengthening as much as you can through the trunk. Hands are more or less shoulder width apart and your feet more or less hip width distance apart. Hold that stretch, piking your bum up nice and high towards the ceiling. We're coming into a controlled up dog from here, and we're going to keep the toes tucked under. If you need to surreptitiously slide your hands forward to be able to come into a plank line, find the plank line first, body line nice and parallel to the mat. And then when you're ready, start bumping the hips through the plank line, strong through the shoulders, strong through the core. And as you come into the up dog, pretend somebody's gently pulling on the crown of your head and try to grow the trunk from the hip bones towards the shoulder line. Hold, keep the toes tucked under, make sure your legs are engaged, make sure your core is engaged. Then relax the knees, release the shins, and come back into a narrow child. The feet are soft and relaxed. In parallel behind you, you're going to extend the arms in front. As your forehead connects to the mat, I want you to almost walk or creep your hands back. Push through the heels of your hands. Sink your bum bones back as far as they can, and think of really trying to lengthen through your trunk, as if somebody was pulling on the crown of your head. You're going to get a fair amount of compression into the lower belly area because we're in a narrow leg stance. Ease your way to 4-point kneeling from here. Tuck your toes under. Maybe come up onto the tips of your fingers so that your hands resemble little spiders. Hover your knees off the floor. You're going to take a little hop forward just to end in the seated frame. And then you're going to fall directly back, hollowing out through your belly, lengthening through your fingertips and your toes. If you like, you can float the arms overhead, giving you more of a U shape through your body. Extend through the fingertips, extend through the toes. Almost think of this as an inverted locust. Then softly float down to the mat. Just make sure you haven't come up off the mat. We're going to come up into a bridge line. Bend the knees and connect the soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to articulate up into the bridge, and then we'll hold with a little bracket around the waist. Make sure that the feet are not too far away from your body. Feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Begin in neutral spine. Then tilt the pelvis towards the 12 o'clock position so that your lower back imprints into the mat. And then start disengaging one vertebra at a time, bringing your bum up off the mat and peeling those hips up towards the ceiling. Make sure that you end on the shoulder blades, tuck them beneath you, and then hold your bridge line. Either stay here with your hands long and lengthened on the mat, or bend the elbows and then use the little L shape between the index finger and your thumb to make a little brace that you're going to tuck underneath the waist on each side. Once you've got your little bracing position, think of almost trying to wriggle out through your hips, lengthening a little bit through the trunk, and maybe creep your heels a quarter space closer towards your shoulder line and try to increase that arch in the spine so that you can feel the trunk is lengthening and the little spaces between the ribs are stretching and opening up. As you're playing in the bridge line, wherever you decide to play today, please make sure that you keep your chin tucked towards the chest. Don't look to the side of the room. Just listen to the voice prompts and follow along where you're able. Give me at least 5 more breaths here. Then we'll release and we'll rock up into a little boat hold, which we'll mix up today. Gently undo that little brace. Open up the shoulder blades first and slowly reconnect to the mat, one vertebra at a time, almost hollowing out your belly and connecting your lower back to the mat before you relax your bum and bring your whole spine back into its natural S-curve shape with that little space behind your bum. Then gently hug your knees in towards your chest, bracing against the shins, and rock up into a seated frame, coming straight into a boat hold. Look at your back, try not to round up. Give me an L shape as if you had reclined the seat of your car, and float your hands into Jupiter Mudra, trying to pierce the wall in front of you with your index fingers and the tips of your toes, which you're holding in a tabletop position. Keep drawing up along the inner thighs and pull up really strongly from the pelvic floor towards your chest line to hold the frame. Take a big breath in, let's say for 10 breaths. Fill your lungs to maximum capacity, and on an exhale, float off center to the left and hold that line, stretching and trying to Tap away with the index fingers. Use your inner thighs, use your core. Inhale to float back towards the center line. And exhale to take it over to the other side. Keep lengthening through those fingertips. Then drop down to the mat. Extend and brace into the feet. And just lengthen through your fingertips. Maybe floating the hands overhead. And pretending that somebody's tugging on those fingertips. And your rib cage is growing and lengthening towards the ceiling. Then drop the arms long and lengthened at your side. Make sure that you've got enough room to play with the feet. We're going to come into an inverted plank, but we're going to play it up today and we're going to use a little Pilates V. So the heels are together, toes are softly splayed out. When you come up into the line, the feet will move naturally further apart and begin to knife edge them into the mat. Arms long and lengthened at your side, fingertips either looking towards the toes, or if you prefer, you can give a fisted line on the mat. Play with both, see what works for you today. Draw your hands back, leaning the weight back into that little L shape that we played with earlier on. Then knife edge your feet and pike your bum up so that the hips come up towards the ceiling, and then hold that line for me. Try to lengthen from your hip bones towards your breast line so that you can feel the trunk lengthening and the sides of the ribs stretching. Give me at least 5 more breaths here, then we'll find our way back to the mat. Ease your way into a seated frame, and as your bum touches the mat, bend the right leg and place it on the outer edge of your mat and replicate on the left. Push with your fingertips off the mat and walk forward. As you do so, square up your feet on the mat so that you're just inside of the mat with the toes facing the front of the mat. We're coming into a narrow prasarita, and I want you to extend the arms out in front of you, framing your head, and gently rock the weight back and forth between the balls and the heels of your feet. Start feeling that inner thigh engagement. Pull the belly button in so that it's tightly fused to your spine. Hold that line. And then softly fold forward, coming to the mat. If your hands can't reach the mat, you could maybe use a block and push off that block. Then soften through the knees as much as you need to step your legs back and ease your way into the down dog frame. Use the down dog frame once again as an opportunity to try to lengthen through your trunk. So pretend that somebody's pulling down on the heels, trying to lengthen you from hip bone to heel, and at the same time you're trying to lengthen from hip bones towards your wrist line. Bum is piked up towards the ceiling, crown is nice and heavy to the floor. Give me 2 more breaths here. And then soften the right leg and kick up the right leg behind you into a 3-legged dog. As you come into the 3-legged dog, brace into your heel and pretend somebody's grabbed hold of that foot and is pulling the foot away from you. Try to lengthen from the hip bones towards that ankle line. Then swing the right leg through. If the leg gets stuck on the mat, just gently curl it forward. Step it just to the inside of the right hand and make sure that you've got knee over ankle on the lead leg. Keep your back toe tucked under. We're coming into a high lunge. So as you peel up, don't lean the weight forward over your lead leg. Focus on pushing back into the heel of your back leg and peel up, framing the ears on either side in a modified, almost warrior one-like line, and think of trying to reach for the sky with your fingertips. Try to grow your trunk towards the ceiling. Hold that line. Make sure that the inner thighs of both legs are working and that the weight distribution is equal on both legs. From here, you're going to ease your way into a warrior 2 line. So you're going to open up the back leg to 90. You're going to windmill slightly through the arms and open up. Check that you're not leaning forward with the arms. Weight coming down nice and evenly towards the floor and your gaze steady over the front forefinger. Try to systematically wiggle the legs further apart so that you can feel the inner thighs are working, and try to at the same time grow your trunk towards the sky. Give me a few more breaths here, and then we'll set up a wide angle, a wide side angle from here, but we're going to try and take the hand on the outside of your lead leg. Start dropping down, maybe resting your elbow on the top of your lead thigh, or place the whole hand behind the leg. If you can't reach the floor, you could maybe use that block and just find a comfortable position on the mat. Extend the opposite arm overhead and trace a big line from your back ankle towards the wrist line of that extended arm, almost as if you were running a broomstick through the wrist all the way to your ankle, and hold. Don't lean all of the weight into the hand that's connected to the floor. Try to hold the majority of your body weight in your core and just use the hand on the mat as a soft prop. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2. Gently start rotating through the trunk. Tuck your back toe under and step back into a plank line. We're going to come into a side plank on the right. Check that your feet are more or less hip-width distance apart. And as you pivot to the right, you can either knife edge the feet, or stack one on top of the other, or bend the bottom knee and extend the top. Find the plank line that works for you. And then see if you can bring the top leg up, maybe taking your middle index finger and thumb and holding on to the big toe and holding a full sage line. If this is not for you, maybe just floating the top arm and leg, or just holding the stack on top, one leg on top of the other. From your sage line, keep bumping those hips up towards the ceiling. You can bring it into a little tree-like line, bending the top knee and placing the sole of the foot on the inside of the bottom leg. Keep piking those hips up towards the ceiling. Don't collapse the bottom hip towards the mat. From here, you're going to open up the top leg, think balancing star, and then you're going to rotate through the trunk, coming into a one-legged plank, and you're going to keep that left leg floating off the mat. One leg floating as you come down in a chaturanga. Use the supported knee if you need to. Try to hover your chin just off the floor and hold. Then tuck that floating, or the toes of the floating leg under. Drag your weight forward over the wrists and come up into a strong up dog. Try to grow from your hip bones through the trunk. Try to lengthen through your spine. Hold that frame. Then you're going to keep that frame as you just softly bend through the elbows to bring your belly down to the floor with control. As your belly connects to the floor, legs are long and relaxed. Float the arms out in front of you. Head being framed between the two arms as you nod your head to the floor. We're going to come up into a full extended locust, and then we'll play with the line. Pretend that you've got a little marble underneath your nose. Begin rolling the marble away from you. Start articulating up one rib at a time. At the same time, float the arms and the legs off the mat, and think of giving me almost a hollowed out frame. Looking between the two palms to the wall in front of you. If this is too much for you, drop closer to the floor. Tuck your head between the two arms and look down towards the floor. Keep growing through your fingertips and your toes as if you were stretching from the hip bones down and from the hip bones up. Then swim or arc the arms behind you, holding your frame as you interlace the hands behind your back and try to knuckle the wall behind you with your knuckles. All right, hold that frame. 5 more breaths here, resting the weight on your hip bones. Then softly uninterlace the hands and whisper softly, peel back down to the mat. Arms are long and lengthened at your side. Retuck that imaginary marble underneath your nose and just give yourself a recovery breath or two. We're going to work the next progression, which is a bow line. If the bow is too aggressive for your back, play with the locust line of your choice. For the bow line, let's bend the right knee, brace into the right foot, and see if you can find a holding spot around the ankle joint. Replicate on the left. When you open up, try not to open the knees. Try to keep them hip-width distance apart. The rest of the roll-up mimics what you did in the locust line. Find that little marble, begin rolling it away. At the same time, float the knees up off the mat and think of the shoulders coming up higher towards the ceiling. You're almost arcing through the spine, giving me a little hollow shape. Don't hug the feet into your bum. Think of kicking the feet away from your bottom, almost as if you were trying to tap the ceiling with the soles of your feet. Hold your bow line, Dhanurasana, and then we're going to play with it a little bit today. Keep holding onto the right foot, but let go on the left. Extend the leg, and then place your left forearm on the mat in front of you with your arm parallel to the front of the mat. Relax the right leg to the floor, and then use your hand to cup around the front of the foot. So you're reaching for the bridge of your foot, and you're going to push down on the toes and the bridge of your foot and try to get the heel of your foot to come down as close to your bum as you can as we play with a modified half frog. To get that heel close to your bum, you need to relax the top of your thigh. So think soft quad, soft hamstring, soft glute. Then release the leg. Stack one forearm over the other. Nod your chin and your chest. Connect your forehead to the back of your hands and just take a little time out trying to lengthen the nape of your neck. Then place both palms alongside your bosom, elbows tucked in towards the center line, and push back into child pose. Big toes coming together, knees softly splayed out, arms long and lengthened in front of you. Walk your hands back and sink your bum bones back towards your heels. We're going to thread the needle from this position. Keep your left arm long and lengthened. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, thread the right arm, palm up, underneath your left armpit, and hold the stretch. Push into your left palm, sink your bum bones as far back as you can towards your heels, and that arm that's threaded through, make that whole shoulder blade heavy to the floor. Inhale to come back to center, and exhale to thread through on the other side. The arm that's extended out in front of you, the right arm, push into that palm, sink your bum bones back. The hand that's threaded through, make that whole shoulder blade of that arm nice and heavy into the mat. Ease your way back into your extended child line, taking a mini stretch here. And then think of peeling up through 4-point kneeling, but round out into a cat frame as you come up, stretching and growing into the ribs. On an inhale, come through neutral spine, taking your chin and your bum bones to the ceiling. Give me a couple of dynamic cat-cows, exhaling as you round out. Really try to grow through the ribs and the trunk as you round out. And then inhale to move in the opposite direction. Let's do one more, and then we'll ease our way into a down dog frame from here. Find a neutral spine position, somewhere between your cat and your cow. Tuck your toes under. If you need to, slide your hands forward slightly to find the down dog frame. That's going to give you the maximum stretch. Try to grow from your hip bones down towards your heels and from your hip bones towards the heel of your hand. Use this as an opportunity to really try to grow through the trunk today. Make the crown nice and heavy to the floor. When you're ready, you're going to find a 3-legged dog on the left. Soften the left leg, kick up that leg behind you, brace into the heel, keep square through the shoulders and the hips. Pretend somebody's pulling that whole floating foot away from you and try to grow out from the hips. Then swing through to the inside of the left hand. Keep the back toe tucked under. Don't lean forward. Push back as you come up into a high lunge line, floating the arms overhead in a modified warrior one line. Reach with your fingertips for the sky and keep pushing into the heel of the back leg weight distribution equal on the front and the back leg. Hold that line. You're going to set up a warrior 2 from here. Open up the back leg to 90, start rotating slightly through the trunk and open up the arms. Watch that you're not dropping that back arm. So maybe take a sneak back and check that your arms are more or less parallel. Then wiggle the front foot forward slightly, but don't lean forward. Keep the weight coming down evenly to the floor and try to grow your crown towards the ceiling. Keep your gaze steady over your front forefinger as you come into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. From here, we're coming into a side angle. When you're ready, you're going to drop the lead hand to the outside, if you can, of the left leg, and you're going to float the right arm overhead, reaching through the fingertips and giving a long line from your back ankle all the way through the line of the rib cage into the band of the arm and extending through those fingertips. Give me a few more soft breaths from here, and then we'll set up a plank line, and then we'll flip it onto its side. Start softly rotating through your trunk. Make sure both hands are firmly planted on the mat as you step back into your plank. My back will be towards you on this one. Look at your feet. Check that they're hip-width distance apart. Flip to the left, knife edging your feet or bending the bottom leg, extending the top. Or electing to stack and come straight into sage if you can, using your middle index finger and thumb to grab the big toe and hold on. Staying there for a few breaths, and then perhaps playing with the movement and bringing it into a tree line, bending the top leg, placing the sole of the foot on the inseam of the bottom leg. Keep piking those hips up nice and high to the ceiling. Don't collapse your frame. Keep trying to grow and extend through the trunk. Then open up the top arm and leg. Think little starfish. Find your way back to a plank, but keep that right leg floating off the mat. One-legged chaturanga as you come down. Bend through the elbows, trying to hover and hold off the floor for a second. And then take that floating leg, tuck the toes under, drag your weight forward over the wrists and peel up into a strong up dog. Keep resisting the mat. Try to grow from your hip bones through the trunk. Lengthen through your spine. Then hold that down dog frame and just start softly bending through the elbows. Work the biceps, work the tricep as you come down. Ease your way onto the belly. Legs long and relaxed behind you. Extend the arms out in front and nod your forehead to the mat. Coming straight into an extended locust. Find that little marble, begin rolling it away. Float the arms and the legs off the mat. Hollow out through your back and almost look between the two palms to the wall in front of you. Grow through your fingertips, grow through your toes. Then use the hands as two oars and sweep, clawing through a body of water to propel your body forward. Coming into a locust line. See if you can interlace the hands behind your back. Make a little fist. Squeeze the two shoulder blades closer together. Push your knuckles into the wall behind you and expand through your ribs. Give me 5 more breaths here. Then we'll bring it into recovery before we play in bow. Uninterlace and whisper softly with control. Peel back down to the mat, connecting your forehead and retucking that marble underneath your nose. Give yourself a few recovery breaths. When you're ready, set up that bow line on the left or repeat the locust of your choice. Bend the left knee, brace into the foot, and find a holding spot around the ankle joint. Replicate on the right, trying to keep the knees hip-width distance apart. Then find that little marble underneath your nose, start rolling away, start peeling up through the ribs, float the knees up, float the arms and the shoulders up. Think of giving me distance between the heel and the bum, as if you were trying almost to push the heels of your feet into the sky. Give me a few more breaths here, either staying still or maybe rocking back and forth between the belly button and the two hip bones. Then let go of the right leg. Brace the right forearm into the mat. So you're pushing softly off and you're holding an almost cobra line with your bottom rib connected to the mat. Change your grip on the back leg, almost peeling around the foot, reaching for the front of the foot and pushing down. Trying to get that heel to relax as much as you can to your bum. Soften the top of that bent leg. So relax the glute, relax the quad, relax the hamstring. Then release the leg. Place one forearm on top of the other. Nod your chin to your chest. Relax your forehead on the back of the hands. If you're feeling the lower back, you could maybe bend the knees and maybe just drop the feet side to side to relax the lower back. We're going to ease our way into child pose from here. Legs long and lengthened. Arms at your side, elbows tucked in. Push back. As you push back, float the big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Walk your hands back. Drop your bum bones as far back towards your bum line as you can. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, thread your left arm underneath your right armpit. Coming to rest on the mat. Keep pushing off your right palm. And the arm that you threaded through, make that whole shoulder heavy to the mat. Inhale and find your way back to extended child. Exhale to thread your right arm underneath your left armpit. As you thread through, make that threaded arm heavy into the mat and use the other palm to push off the mat and sink your bum bones back towards your heels. Ease your way from here back to your extended child line. Take a mini stretch here. Before coming through 4-point kneeling, as you do so, round out your spine, trying to grow the rib cage towards the ceiling. Then on an inhale, change the shape, coming through neutral spine, giving me a cow, and then play dynamically, rounding out and hollowing out your back, trying to grow the ribs up towards the ceiling every time you round out in cat and nod your chin to your chest. Last one. From here, you're going to find a neutral spine position. Give me little spider fingertips on the mat. You're going to just gently hop forward to find Sukhasana, easy sit on the mat. Tuck your toes under, float your knees off the floor, hop up, and as you hop up, cross one ankle over the other. Let's all lead with the left leg in front as we come into easy sit. Sit up nice and tall, stacking one leg in front of the other. Place your left fingertips or palms softly on the mat alongside your body. Start bending through the elbow and slide or creep the hand away from you, coming as far as you can down to the mat, and at the same time arc or frame the other arm over your head, reaching with the fingertips as if you wanted to tap the wall at the opposite end of the room. Inhale to float back to the center line. To repeat that stretch on the other side. Place the right fingertips on the mat alongside you. Start bending through the elbows. Slide the hand away and at the same time arc or frame the left arm overhead. Almost thinking of piercing the wall with your fingertips. Ease your way back to center. Take a big breath in as you lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, twist to the left, grabbing or pushing that knee away. Let's push the knee away today. As you come into the twist and try to lengthen and grow your trunk towards the ceiling. Inhale to transition and exhale to take your twist in the opposite direction, pushing opposite hand to knee. Inhale to peel back towards the center line and just exhale to softly fold forward, maybe softly sliding your hands along the mat, easing your way onto the forearms if you can, and then just nodding your crown to the mat, making it as heavy to the mat as you can. Maybe softly push off your forearms, Sink your bum bones back and try to grow through the ribs. Peel up along the center line. Either stay in your easy sit or take the left foot and try to tuck the left heel in the half lotus line, bringing that heel as close to the inside of the hip bone as you can and just resting the foot on the top of your right thigh. Take a big breath in, take your left hand and just softly with your left palm, push the left knee away and use your right fingertips on the floor behind you to just support your body. Maybe rotating and softly twisting to look over the right shoulder and keep pushing away with the left palm. Inhale to take your twist in the opposite direction, right hand to left knee, push the knee away. Bring your left fingertips really close to your lower back so that you're almost using that back arm as a splint to support your back and to lengthen as much as you can. Check that your weight distribution is equal on both of your bum bones and that you're not hanging all of the weight on your left bum bone. Inhale to come back to center. You're going to fold forward, place your fingertips on the mat, creep or slide forward, trying to make your way onto the forearms, either staying on the forearms or dropping the crown down, and feel that delicious little massage as the heel massages your colon on the right. Keep pushing off the forearms, make your bum bones heavy to the mat so that you can feel the ribs expanding behind you. Peel back up along the center line. Uncurl your legs from the half lotus line and extend the left leg in front, bringing the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg. Just interlace the hands and maybe hug that knee and that shin in towards your chest, bracing into your supportive foot. Give me a long spine. Then you're going to think opposite elbow to knee. You're going to twist softly to the right, hugging that knee in towards your chest. And then let's take the twist in the opposite direction, taking the right elbow, placing it on the inside of the knee. Use your tricep to push against the inside of that knee. Arm long and lengthened. Place the left fingertips on the floor behind you and maybe drop those fingertips to the mat and use your tricep to push against the inside of your knee. If this feels good, you can maybe play in a bind. Take that extended arm, start rotating the palm away from you, bending through the elbow to tuck around the leg, palm is facing away from you, and then see if you can feed the other arm behind your back and grab the two hands in a big grip. You could use a belt, a strap, or a hand towel. As you come into the bind, pretend somebody's pulling your crown up to the ceiling and try to give me the longest trunk line that you can comfortably manage. From here, you're going to tuck into the half lotus line one more time. Take your right, let's do a little happy baby first. So hold on to the left foot. Think seated happy baby. Try not to slouch back. So sit up nice and tall and then bend the knee and try to bring the kneecap in towards your armpit. So think of pulling the leg in. Then keep holding onto the right foot with your right hand and float the left arm out in front of you as if you wanted to tap the wall in front of you. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to extend the right leg away. You're going to twist through the trunk and you're going to look behind you, extending the left arm. So you're giving me a long line from your left arm through the right arm, almost as if you were running a broomstick and you're trying to hold that line. You could use a belt, a strap, or a hand towel to hold onto the foot if the foot is not accessible to you. Hold that stretch. And then from here, we'll tuck into the half lotus line and try to come into a full lotus if your body is willing and able today. Just play with it, see where you want to be. Start bending that right leg. Tuck the heel of the right foot as close towards the inside of the left hip bone as you can. Bring it in as high as you can. Then bend the bottom leg and maybe try to coax the bottom heel over your front shin. Bringing the two heels in as close towards your hip bones as you can and finding the half lotus line. If your body doesn't want to play in half lotus, feel comfortable to come to easy sit or maybe a half lotus and just try to hold for maybe 10 seconds, maybe placing your hands softly on your knees and just almost think of pushing off the knees and trying to grow your trunk towards the sky. Then consciously uncouple. Thank you, Gwyneth. As you uncouple, tip the weight back off your tailbone, almost bracing softly on your shins, and just release your ankle bones. We're going to repeat that little sequence on the other side. Ease your way back into easy sit. This time you're leading with the right leg in front. Find your stack, sit up nice and tall. Place your right palm and fingertips on the mat alongside you. Start bending through the forearm. Start relaxing the elbow to the floor, and at the same time, cup or frame your head on the left and reach with your left fingertips as if you wanted to tap the wall away from you. Try to grow through the rib cage on the left side of the body. Inhale to come back to center. Drop the left fingertips to the mat. Slide the arm away as you start bending through the elbow, arc or frame on the opposite side, reaching with your fingertips and try to grow through the rib cage on the right. Inhale, come back to center. Take a big breath in. To prepare on the exhale, you're going to twist to the right. Opposite hand to knee. Push the knee away. Bring the back hand quite close to your spine so that you're almost using it as a splint, and try to grow from your hip bones towards the sky as you come into the twist today. Inhale to transition and exhale to twist to the opposite side. Opposite hand to knee. Push that knee away. Grow through the trunk. Your marionette. Somebody's pulling that head up towards the ceiling. Come back to the center line, drop your fingertips to the mat, slide them out in front of you. You could use a block on the floor if you prefer, if your range of motion is just not there today. If you're on the forearms, push off the forearms, sink your bum bones back and almost grow through the back of your rib cage. Visualize the little spaces between the ribs opening up. Inhale to peel up, reach for your right foot and tuck it into the half lotus line, bringing that heel in as close to the inside of your hip bone as you can manage. Sit up nice and tall. Take your right hand, push the right knee away, push down, rotating softly through the shoulders to peek over the back left shoulder, almost as if you were looking towards the back edge of your mat. Keep lengthening through the spine as much as you can. Think waist and side extenders. Then let's take the rotation in the opposite direction. Left hand to right knee. As you twist to the right, push the knee away. As you come into the twist, bring those hands, the back fingertips quite close to your tailbone so that you're almost using the back arm as a splint today. Then peel back towards the center line and give me a soft forward fold. Don't force it, just creep or slide the hands forward, making your way onto the forearms. Push off the forearms, sink your bum bones back, make your crown heavy to the floor. Enjoy that little massage of the colon. Think of your ribs expanding towards the ceiling. Then peel up along the center line. Uncouple and extend the right leg out long and lengthened in front of you. Bend the left knee, place the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right leg. Interlace your hands, making a little basket, and then hug your left shin in towards your spine. Give me a long neckline and brace into your supportive foot. We're going to come into a little mariachi twist from here. Let's twist to the left first. Think opposite elbow to knee. Hug that knee in towards your chest. Use the other hand to support you on the mat. Try not to lean your body weight back. So really think long through the spine. Try to come out from the hip bones and grow towards the sky. All right, ready to twist in the opposite direction? Bring your left elbow and left tricep to the inside of the left knee. Push the leg away. Resist. Maybe arm long and lengthened in front of you, or drop the fingertips to the mat as you look over the back shoulder. You could tuck the arm behind you, wrapping around your bent leg, and then make a little interlace of the hands behind your back and try to grow as much as you can through the spine. Making sure that you're not leaning aggressively into one of your bum bones. So try to keep the weight distribution on both of your bum bones even. Then unbind. Reach for your left foot. We're coming into that seated half a happy baby. And you're going to think of bracing into the foot and trying to bring the knee into your armpit. Hug it in as tight as you can and sit up as tall as you can through the spine. Then keep holding onto the left foot with your left hand and extend the right arm out in front of you as if you wanted to tap the wall away from you. Take a big breath in to prepare, and then on the exhale, shoot the left foot away, rotate through the trunk to float the right arm behind you, and try to give me a long line through the arm and the foot, lengthening and growing your spine up to the ceiling. Think of bobbing your crown on the ceiling. From here, you're going to tuck back into the half lotus line, left leg on top of your right. Try to bring that heel in as close to your hip bone on the right as you can. Then bend the bottom leg, maybe coax the bottom foot over your top shin, and then relax both knees down to the floor. Wriggle around until you're comfortable and just stay here for a couple of soft breaths, maybe softly pushing the knees away and just relaxing into full Padmasana lotus line. If you're not comfortable in this line, come to a seat of your choice. And then when you're ready, start closing your eyes. Start taking your focus in. Start making the inhalations and the exhalations long and lengthened. And float your hands into a soft prayer-like mudra in front of your heart. Push softly into the two palms so that it feels like there's almost a little current of electricity flowing through your body. Visualize a circular circuit flowing clockwise, like a never-ending electric circuit, constantly feeding your body with much-needed nourishment and energy. Namaste to you. Thank you so much for making the time to come out and play with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed our time on the mat. If you enjoyed today's class, please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you touch base with me, giving me your comments and your feedback. And remember to always be subscribed with your notifications on. Share the channel with friends of yours that might not be daily subscribers, but they will be eligible to see the free classes that are published once a week on the channel. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday for playtime on the mat. Till then, keep it light.